So I am going to have to do a bit of a dance, but I promise you, the story that I'm going to tell you is going to make your hair curl. It might make you switch this off. It is so disgusting and awful and grubby that actually you might not be able to stomach it. But it is about a former BBC presenter that I know the details of. I know the man. I've known him for a long time, nearly 40 years, but he was caught out at the BBC, and no, it's not Gordon the Gopher. The language that I am going to attempt to use, the algorithm might not like it, so I'm never going to be able to monetize this, ever. But it's sufficient, because it turned my stomach, and it is sufficient for you to pull faces at whatever you're watching it, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your computer, or whether it's on your TV. I promise you, it's hair curling. Even my friends are like, Adrian, you're not going to do that one, are you? Oh, yes. Sierra Charlie Alpha Tango. I know if you're intelligent enough, I know you know what I've just said. It might make a few people switch off, but it's a former BBC presenter organising Sierra Echo X-ray parties. The BBC, when I was part of it, had 27 or 29,000 employees. So 29,000 people, you're going to have some bad apples. You're going to have some wrong uns in there. I'm going to give you a linear tale that took about, 18, 20 years maybe. But it's a long tale. So anyway, this, and I'm not naming, I've said this before, I'm not naming names, and I'm not naming locations. But, you know, the BBC investigated this, and he was sling your hook, you pervert. So this guy arrives at this radio station that I'm working at, and seemingly he's being caught importing adult material on video. He was caught at the borders, and so he gets caught, tries to get through customs, and they pull him to one side and say, what's in your case, sir? He said, music videos. And they said, do you mind if we have a look? No, go ahead. So they opened his case. God blimey, hundreds of videos. They're music videos, said the customs men, women. And they go and have a look at a video. And one video. And they come back and said, sir, do you want to come this way? And he's like, yeah, why? Well, just come with us. So he was caught and tried and fined, I think. I don't think he did any jail time. But he was importing, like, really, really naughty stuff. And he got caught. So he comes up to this radio station, and someone at the radio station, again, I'm not going to name them or name their position within the station, said to the lads, right, this is the deal. If we get no press coverage, if nothing happens, he can stay, because he's a good one. And there was no, because it wasn't in the area that I was working at. Nothing. The local media weren't interested. They didn't, so he stayed. Really, really nice guy. Really nice guy. So I then go off. I don't know where he went. He disappeared off. I think he tried to go back to the original station that he came from, but he just went off. And radio industry is such a small industry. Everybody knows everybody, or if they don't, they kind of know someone who does. You're only, what's the truism? You're only 3 handshakes away from anybody in the world. I've shook Brian Clough's hand. So he shook hands with the Queen. So I was only 1 handshake away from the Queen, Charles, Muhammad Ali, Frank Sinatra. So he kind of goes off, and I go off, and I work elsewhere. And then I'm kind of talking to mutual friends in the industry, and I say, oh, I see you've got so-and-so there. And they went, oh, yeah. And literally within 2 or 3 days, he left the building and forgot to log off from the BBC computers. Oh, schoolboy error. I mean, he was doing proper illegal stuff. And my friends, so he used a pseudonym. And basically what he was doing, he was organising adult parties. That's as much as I can go and say. But Sierra Charlie Alpha Tango, he was organising those kind of parties. And if you don't know what that is, please Google it. I can't elaborate anymore. So he was organising these parties in hotels that people would pay to go to. Now, I'm not sure whether that's illegal in itself. Well, maybe it was, but he was dealing with the Sierra Charlie Alpha Tango, Queen of Europe, and he was inviting her as a guest, and everybody would, well, euphemistically say, dance with her. But it wasn't just dance with her. They had to sign. They had to sign papers because it was in a hotel. It was it was being filmed and then distributed. So they wore masks if they didn't want to be identified, and if they didn't care, they were just filmed and then it was just distributed. And seemingly this female from Europe said, "Yeah, it's good to eat Battenberg cake sort of 24 hours before." And I said to my mates, what would you need to eat a large Battenberg cake for 24 hours before? And they said, because seemingly it makes it smell nicer. The doo-doo. Yeah, the doo-doo. Battenberg cake. Yeah, the Battenberg cake. So he left all of the negotiations with this queen in Europe. I don't mean royal queen. I mean the number one star of these types of films in Europe. They invited her across. She was only costing about €3,500, I think, and all these guys. And one of the guys in the video said to this presenter, and I'm having to be very careful because his name's just going to trip off my tongue. Said to him, "Oh, look, I've had a bit of an operation, and I've got a tap where I do my thang through. Will she be okay if I just open this tap?" And this presenter said, "Well, yeah, she's fine. $3,500. Yeah, she's fine." So about 3 or 4 days later, BBC security appear and just take them to one side and go, "Look, mate, we've got this. You've sent these emails on BBC computers. You're arranging this on BBC computers. So we're just going to escort you to the door." Now, that went on. Nobody knew. It never made the press. BBC Battenberg cake. That is, honestly, Norman, I am literally going to laugh out loud at that later when I finish this live. Because, and I have witnesses. I have people that I think have copies of the emails. They know his pseudonym, his nom de plume, for what he did in these hotels. But I mean, I'm not easily shocked by stuff and life and what human beings do. And look, if it's consensual and it's behind closed doors, fine. Just don't use BBC computers to arrange it, because they are just going to go, leave. And so there's other stuff that I can tell you that I can't tell you after that, because, well, just honestly, legally, it's a pretty. I mean, that in itself is pretty wild. But I will say that he went to another radio station, and he was looking at dodgy stuff on the computers while he was on air, while he was presenting his radio show. And same guy didn't get the hint after the BBC had gone, "Wait, Foxtrot Oscar." He just didn't get it. I mean, maybe it was an addiction or something, or maybe he just wasn't. Well, I knew his missus as well, and she was lovely. So he goes to another radio station, and he I think he's still working in radio somewhere. Not a big station, but I think he's still working. And he's on the video. He's on the computer in the studio, and the big boss comes downstairs. And as he walks into the studio, this presenter's looking at the unnecessary stuff on the computer screen, like proper, adults getting friendly sort of material. And the boss goes, "Oh, team." He told her that. People will know who it is now. The guy, the big boss. "Team, what you doing, man?" "Oh, I'm just Googling something." "Oh, I don't know what these are. Oh, I don't know how they came there. Oh, I've no idea. I must have just pressed the wrong button." "I'll see you in my office as soon as you've finished." So as soon as he's finished the show, we scuttled upstairs. "What are you doing, man? What are you doing, man?" And he just said, "Oh, I pressed the wrong button." He said, "No, you didn't. I've had the engineers look at what you were doing. I know exactly what you were doing. So, sling your hook